Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Novelists Unwind. I'm Johnnie Alexander, and I'm joined today by Tari Faris. And we're going to be talking about her debut novel and her writing journey and, who knows what else. Here it is. You Belong With Me. Lovely, lovely, lovely cover. And I love the font. I'm kind of into fonts.
Yes.
Very, very pretty. And just to let everyone know, I was up really late last night trying to finish the book and wanting to finish it. And I'd say one more chapter. And I'd look at the clock and I'd say one more chapter. But then it got to be like 1 o'clock. And I had like another 1 or 2 chapters in the epilogue to go. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this interview in the morning and be awake, I better get to sleep. So I got up this morning and finished it. So
Oh,
it is a fabulous, fabulous book. And I'm anxious
thank
to
you.
talk to Tari about it. So You Belong With Me, the first book in the Restoring Heritage series. What do you want to tell us about it?
Well, this is my debut novel, and it's been an exciting, long, exciting journey. I actually started writing this novel 7 years ago,
Wow.
uh, and it didn't look anything like it looks now.
Nope.
I would write it, and then I would learn more about writing, and then I would rewrite it, and then I'd learn more about writing, and then I'd rewrite it. And I kind of worked on other books at the same time, but I
Sure.
just kept coming back to this one because I just love these characters so much. and uh, and as I would learn and grow in my writing, every pass became better. In fact, one time I just shortly finished a revision, and I was like, "This is it." And then I went to a conference and learned something, and I was like, "I need to revise it." And I remember thinking at the time, "I will not revise that book again. I won't." And I felt like I was saying, "That's okay, just set it on the side for now." And I worked on something else, and then eventually I was like, "Okay, I'm ready to revise it. I'm ready to do this again." And it was like, I'm not even going to bring it up at this point, sweetheart. I know, I understand. Just set it aside. We'll get there. Don't worry. So, and actually, one of the kind of unique characters of my book is this Otis, which is a
Yes. Yes.
people have really like fallen in love with Otis. He's this statue that mysteriously moves around town. And the funny thing is he did not actually make the book until the very last edit. The very
Really?
final edit, I put him in, and it just really brought the story to kind of a whole new level of life. And I guess that's what I was trying to do was I loved Heritage, but I always am so disparaging about how run down it is in the beginning. I was like, I need to have something positive. I need to have something that's we all love about Heritage from the beginning. And took a class at a conference that was talking about how to make your character a setting. And so I started brainstorming after that, like what could I do to just give Heritage something unique for people that they just love it from the beginning. And I actually came up with Otis based on a few things from my hometown. And so it just kind of snowballed into who he became. And so we all love him. But I just think it's interesting that all those revisions were worth it because he didn't come in until the very last revision.
Oh, that happens, and yeah, you just don't know what's really going to resonate with readers. But I really liked Otis too, and I don't want to do spoilers, but I think it's really funny how I think I know how he's getting around. I mean, of course, you don't reveal that, but I think I know. But how it's really like these people have just bought into this thing that
Yes.
Otis moves on his own from place to place. And it's
Yeah.
so cute. It's so cute. But there are other things with the story too that are kind of unusual for a contemporary romance, because we're used to reading contemporary romances that have the hero and the heroine, and it's will they or won't they. Of course, we know there's going to be a happy ending, but it's like, how is that going to happen, and so forth and so on. But even though Luke and Hannah are definitely the main couple in this story, there is this
Mm-hmm.
other romance going on, and we have those points of view as well with Thomas and Jamie. And it's like, this just adds this whole other layer to the story, and it's a really, I don't know that I've seen contemporary novel that has taken that approach. So have you, or was this something you just kind of came up with, or?
No, yeah, I have actually. And the first I actually saw it was in Debbie Makehomer.
Okay.
She does that in one of her. I'm trying to remember what series it's called. I think it's a it Coves or something?
Oh,
I
Cedar
get all the
Coves. I think
Cedar
it's
Cove
Cedar,
series.
yeah.
I think they all start with like a house number or something. Anyway,
Mhm.
that series I was reading through, and I love that she just would have different like little plots through it. You know what I mean? And it was the first time that that kind of sparked in me. I think I started reading that even before I was writing. And then I think Susan May Warren has done it in a few of her books.
Okay.
And then what actually happened with this one, how this ended up, was when again, in one of my revisions, when I first wrote this, it was just Hannah and Luke's story.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody asked me if I would consider writing it if I could shorten it up and make it a category, like consider taking it to Love Inspired.
Right.
And so I said, well, let me see if I can tighten up the story and do that. So I rewrote it so that it was the right length for that. But when I got done, I felt like it didn't tell the whole story. It felt like it was missing something. And then I just had this idea of really what needs to be told is Thomas and Janie's story. And I feel like that can flesh out so much even more of Luke and Hannah's story.
It did.
Because you have for more. So then it was really funny because my agent was like, okay, because she asked me if I would be able to. I'm like, I did, but then I remade it again for full length as soon as I got it done. And so I sent it to her and she's like, oh, I actually like this. So yeah, and actually all of this is a 3-book series.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have a main plot and then a subplot romance in all 3 books with Ravel. And then I have the prequel novella is just one romance, and then I'll also have a novella between books 2 and 3 that's just one romance.
Okay. And your novella is called P.S. Goodbye,
yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you can get that by going to Tari's website, tarifaris.com. It's TARIFARIS.com, and that will be on there'll be a link in the show notes too. And you can get that free for signing up for her newsletter. So encourage you to do that.
Yes, and that's only going to be free through the month of October. I'm actually going to finally take it down. I know. So
well, forget what I said then, because because this doesn't air till December. So people, we are filming this early. So by the time you see this, you will not be able to get that. How will it be available, or will you have another novella available for?
It won't be available. I won't have another available yet. I will have on my newsletter. I do have what I'm going to replace it with is a little backstory of Hannah and Luke, their story from high school. It's not like a happy. It's only a couple chapters. It's not a full novella. Sure. And I will say, I warn people, it's not a happy ending story because otherwise they wouldn't need their novel to get their happy.
Right. No, but I would like to read that.
So it's kind of a fun because we learn a little bit about their backstory, but we don't ever see it fleshed out what happened between them. And so this is kind of that story fleshed out. And then, but I will be moving P.S. Goodbye to Amazon and Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
So great. And so it'll be available there.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, well, so you still want to go to Tari's website and you still want to sign up for her newsletter.
Because you get Hannah and Luke's backstory, so that'll be fun.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Oh my gosh, different things I wanted to talk to you about. You and I have something in common, a couple things in common actually. Tari, I'm happy to announce, was the 2017 winner of the Genesis contest, which is sponsored by the American Christian Fiction Writers. And for those of us in the inspirational writing market, winning the Genesis is for those who haven't been published yet, is like one of the really one of the biggest honors in our industry. And I won that in 2011. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but even more fun, Tari was a bronze medal finalist in the Fraser contest in 2012, and so was I.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, with a contemporary story. So I won in the historical category for the Genesis, but I had a contemporary story in the Fraser. And I thought, I think I was in the Fraser thing in 2012. So I looked back, and sure enough, it was. And they gave those awards out at the American Christian Fiction Writers Conference. Were you
They
there?
did. I was there.
I was too.
In fact,
there.
yes. In fact, ACFW 2011, when you won, was my very first ACFW I ever went to.
Really?
I had never heard of the Genesis, so I was watching you get your award, thinking,
Well,
"Where's this?"
yeah, I didn't get to
award?
go. My agent got my award for me. I mean, I was
Okay.
yeah, because I was just dumbfounded. I was so surprised that I won. But yeah, 2012, the conference was in Dallas, and they had a pizza party for the Fraser finalists, and I was there, and you were there, so we were in the room.
That's so funny. Yes.
Isn't it cool?
Yes, that's so fun.
I just want to say again, I really enjoyed your story because, you know, again, with the double romances going on, and then there's just so much, there's so much layering and depth to this story, you know. So it's not, I mean, we all love those, you know, romances and the happily ever afters and all, but you really get into some wonderful spiritual lessons without being preachy, and there's just all these motifs of different things. And I think one of my favorite, and I try to stay away from spoilers, but this idea of broken pieces, it just kind of filters its way all the way through. I don't know, do you want to say anything about that, or about any other of the themes or motifs that were really important to you as you wrote the story?
Yeah, that one really resonated a lot.
It does.
And I felt I've actually had a lot of people call and message me or email me about that. How I feel like there's very few people who make it in life through life without broken pieces in their life.
Sure.
And the question is, you know, what are we going to do with those broken pieces? Are we going to, you know, as they say, are they going to let them stay broken and sharp, which continue to cut us up inside, or we can allow God to reshape those. And, you know, a lot of that, interestingly enough, again, I feel like there's so much through this book that God really did in me as I was writing it. And that scene really didn't come probably, and it was several revisions in. And again, not spoilers, but there's a scene in the end where there's a lot of broken pieces.
Yeah.
Actual broken pieces. And that scene came to me, probably was the first thing that really, I was writing that scene, it just happened, everything just happened. And then I was like, okay. And that's when I started weaving it through. That's often what happens when I will write a novel, is I will write I do plot out, I do plan, I do these things, but your characters still do their own thing. Yes. There's still a whole lot that you as an author feel out of control. Like, I don't know, they're just doing it. And so when I got to the end, when I get to the end, there's something that happens that then all of a sudden is almost like that is what I need to then go back and weave through the story, so it doesn't feel abrupt, and out of place. But it often are those gold moments that you're like, because those, I mean, and that's how it happens in life too. There's those moments that you look and say, oh, now I can see what God had been doing in my life all this time, where at the time you don't understand how these fit together. And so I love how when our characters do that, and just kind of shine a spotlight on things that God's doing in our life. Susan May Warren has a quote that she says, you know, the journey hasn't changed you, meaning the writing journey hasn't changed you, then you've missed the point. And I think that's so true, that I feel like often my writing is more about how God's changing me, and then the books are a byproduct that hopefully can also minister to others.
Oh yeah, I really think so. I mean, it was like I said, of course I wanted to have it finished before we, you know, talked, but I really couldn't put it down either. I mean, I finally just had to make myself just say, okay, you've got to finish this in the morning, because otherwise it's going to be 3:00 and you're going to be exhausted. Is this the story that you won with Genesis, or was that a different story?
Actually, no. I finaled with this one twice with the Genesis, but didn't win. But the one I won with was P.S. Goodbye.
Okay. That's cool.
So, and actually it was kind of fun because that put me in the novella category. And my writing buddy, who we've been best writing friends since really 2011, and she was in the romance category for hers, and we both won the same night, and that was super fun to be able to share that together.
That's neat.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Neat. It really is fun that the friends that you make in this in this writing community, because of course it's a large group of people, but it's kind of small in a way too,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
in the inspirational writing world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really, that's sweet. That's sweet. Well, I just love it. Next up is the second book in the series, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I just got it back from my editor yesterday, so I'm now in deep revisions of book two, and that's super exciting. The main plot follows, we met Nate, the pastor,
Mm-hmm.
in book one. It's his brother who comes, he owns a landscape company, and he comes to finish off the square. So right now, the square,
Yeah.
where the square is left is a little bit done, but he comes to finish the landscaping of the square. And then they've also hired Libby, who I can't explain who that is, but you do meet her in book one.
I know who Libby
And,
is.
and she comes to be the new librarian, reopen their library because they had closed their library many years before, just it gotten run down. So there's that. The subplot is, like I told you again, there's two romances. The subplot is Nate and Olivia, so they do get a story, and you see a lot of tension and uncertainty in the first book, so you actually get to see their story fleshed out in this book. And but really, there's a lot of the story is Nate, as you already can probably tell from book one, has very much a prodigal son story to his life, and his older brother is very much the older brother, which I think in the reality, a lot of us can identify with more than the prodigal son.
Right.
So it's very interesting to write that.
That's
Just
so cool.
That's interesting of dealing, that life does come with consequences, and sometimes you really, really hurt people along the way. And even if God forgives you, what does that mean? I mean, it doesn't erase everything that you did.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's just kind of wrestling with a lot of those issues, playing out and stuff.
Very
So,
intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It's been fun to write and fun to kind of add that dynamic of that relationship to the book as well.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I can't wait now. When does it come out? Another year?
Next September. Yep.
September,
I wanna.
wait a year.
Yep. Sorry.
I know. It's like, oh, I want to read that one too. Anyway, I want to show this book again. You Belong with Me. Again, just a wonderful contemporary romance. I love the title too, and it just really resonates as you read the story. This title fits this book so well, because belonging is also another theme that just flows through the whole book.
Yeah.
Terry, one last question I ask everybody. When you're all done with your manuscript and you type the end, what do you do to unwind?
Oh. This time I think I did a little happy dance and sent all these emojis to all my friends, because I was like really struggling with book two. They always say book two is very hard because you've had all this time with book one, and so book two is just a different thing. And so but I think I also my husband and I, although I just got my edges back, we had planned this trip. We're going to get away for a few days, my husband and I try to do something with my kids, I took them for ice cream to celebrate, just things, because a lot of it, I'm lack of present. Sometimes I was so trying to be on deadlines that a lot of relationships and pieces kind of fall through the cracks. And so I ended up making plans with my kids and my husband and I, and little things to relationships that I've kind of ignored. So, and then now getting ready to ignore again because I got to get next book again. So
I know, because you got to dive back in again, and I assume there's going to be a book 3 too. So,
yes, and so then I'll have to dive into that book.
Yeah, it's a whirlwind, because you're right. I mean, you, like you said, you spent like 7 years on this one, and then get the contract, and you don't have 7 years for books 2 and 3.
That's right. Yep.
Well, this has been great, Terry. Thank you so much
Thank you for having me. This has been wonderful.
That's a pleasure. Truly, truly is. And thanks for everyone who's watching. We really appreciate you, and we're glad you're here. See you next time on Novelists Unwind.